Many people come to me because they're in pain, either
Right.
from psychological trauma or often from physical injury or the effects of aging or illness. And the beauty of that is that this necessity, raises a sense of urgency.
You're right.
And I think my teacher often said that people would have the energy it needed to wake up if they saw their lives burning.
Yeah. That's
And
beautiful.
Krishnamurti, he used to like to tell sometimes the stories when he was trying to wake people up about during the wars, how he'd hear of these hospitals that were bombed and how, people who hadn't been out of a bed for sometimes years, seeing the flames erupt all around them, somehow had whatever it took to just thrust themselves out the window to save their lives,
Right.
and no one can quite explain it. And so he'd say, well, if you saw your life burning,
Right. That's
now you'd have the energy, right?
Right.
And my sense is that that's true, and that's necessary but insufficient, because people often respond to that from this fight, flight, kind of response.
Right.
So they can't respond to the urgency on the same order of sort of thought that the problem arose from, right? And so somehow it has to turn to gravity inside of them. The urgency is necessary, and they need to somehow, instead of bracing against the experience or the pain and trying to fix it, to actually begin to feel what happens when they embrace what's arising and open to the spaciousness that comes as they open to the now. And the gift in all of that is that the same thing that is required for the system to reorganize itself and renew itself, that quality of embracing the spaciousness and that lighting up, is what's needed, to heal them, is also what awakens them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This letting, like you were describing earlier, letting something almost sink. I think of it as like landing like a bird into its shadow and fitting completely, that deep sense of embodiment. It's so helpful to have dialogue,
Right.
as a form of kind of social meditation,
Right.
because it's as if we can see through, many kind of windows into consciousness, and the possibility for thought itself to become proprioceptive, self-sensing, and self-correcting, self-organizing, self-renewing, updating itself. Because what it reveals to us then is the incoherencies that are inherent in the system of thought, not even in your thought or my thought, that there's an attribution that there is a your thought or my thought.
Right.
And so this, for us to be able to see together, to develop a more self-sensing movement of thought,
Right.
less habituated
Right.
by these, the infrastructure of our thoughts, images and
Right. That's
object
beautiful.
identification. Yeah.
And therefore the communication is so important, because this we can give each other the abilities of our eyes, of our presence, of our hearts, and we can let them join, and then the probability is much higher that the shadow that cannot be seen by me can be seen by you, and I can actually borrow your eyes in a way to get the reflection that I cannot give to myself.
Yes. And the beauty is that we stop making the attributions, in a way, of about me.
Right.
There's just the seeing.
Yeah,
right?
there's a seeing. Yeah, right. Life sees itself.
And so it's so much easier not to get caught in the shame loops, of and needing to protect and defend and uphold the sense of self, as if like I had to defend against your sense of rightness, intruding, or your authority. But there's just the willingness to kind of dive deeper into the river just for the joy of sharing the inquiry. And so I'll take this off if it's in the way, I'll take that off, you know, and just the pleasure of seeing together. Yeah.
Beautiful, right. Yeah, I think that's very complete.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, fun.
Thank you.